Welcome back to the channel. Guys, we're going to review the Green Lantern trailer. This is actually, I believe, trailer 2. Unless you want to refer to it as, they're saying it's the official teaser trailer, the second teaser trailer. So I'm going to go by that because this is HBO saying that. Some people didn't like the first one. I liked the first one. This is James Gunn's world. Many of you all know I like his perception, his gritty idea of how these comic book heroes should come to life. Is a different take. I'm a big fan of the Peacemaker series, Suicide Squad. In the beginning, I wasn't, and that was only because I didn't really watch. I watched the first one, the first Suicide Squad, and I wasn't a huge fan of the first Suicide Squad. So when James Gunn did the second one, I watched it. I finally watched it because I put it off, for a long time. From the first one, I wasn't too big of a fan of. And when I watched it, I really liked it. And it just went along with everything else James Gunn has done in his world, coming over from Marvel. So I've always been a fan of James Gunn. But I like his dark humor and his take on these superhero films, although I'm more into the more realistic superhero characters. I guess as you get older, you're no longer in that 13-year-old demographic. You like to see more gritty, more realistic, a little bit grounded superhero movies. But James Gunn can kind of pull that off and keep the wonder of the comic book world in there, unlike anybody else. So I've grown to really like James Gunn more than the other directors out there. He's also a very good storyteller. So immediately I like what he did with the first trailer I saw of Lanterns. I liked it, right? Let's watch the second one that a lot of people say are better. A lot of people are in agreement is a much better one. So let's take a look at it.
This ring, it's the greatest weapon in the universe. When and if to use it, that's the whole bulk.
I think that's what a lot of people want to see or wanted to see in the first trailer. They want to see that ring get used. They want to see that green energy from the lantern emitted. And whereas I like the mystery of I like kind of downplaying it a bit, where, you just kind of see it on special occasion and they focus on the storytelling. But, at the end of the day, we're all comic book fans. You want to at some point see it. And so you're kind of getting that.
Junior. Did you just use that ring to counterfeit money? No. Tell me how you got it. The ring.
That's hilarious. So right now you can see that's going to be that humor in there. That kind of that James Gunn humor. Even though they've kind of marketed this somewhat as kind of True Detective, with this kind of in a detective story on Earth, right? As such. And so, very interesting.
You know how I got it. I sure as hell didn't interview for it. Oh, shit, maybe you should have. Power like that, shouldn't you have to work for it? I've been doing this since you were a baby. And the only way you're gonna get this ring is over my dead fucking body. I think he likes me.
Now, this is something I've heard kind of going around the internet. Some people had a problem with that. It's kind of this Hal Jordan, John Stewart rivalry. It's almost like they're in a competition for the ring to police the sector of Earth. And so here's what I'm going to need a little bit of help with. Unfortunately, unlike Superman, where I knew quite a bit about, I'm not very, very well versed on Green Lantern. I didn't spend a lot of time in the Lantern comics or movies as such. Although I know some things about them, there are, I'm sure, details. But my understanding of the Lantern Corps was that each sector had specific Green Lanterns, right? And am I correct in assuming that Earth only had one Green Lantern to look over that sector? So if that's the case, if I'm correct in that, which I may or may not be, then the idea that they would have to vie for it, you know, kind of could make sense. I guess also they want to do this relationship where, you know, some detective stories or team up stories work better when the characters are at odds and not getting along, because it can give that smart alley banter back and forth. You know what I'm saying? And so in that sense, maybe that's what they could be going for.
Everybody is lying to us. We're not leaving here until we find out what they're hiding. Danger's part of the job. You need to be fearless.
How are you chosen for this?
It's only one question. Are you afraid? You afraid? Are you afraid?
Is that what is his name? Grant Gardner. Am I saying it right? He was on the Superman movie. And we got to see his powers as a part of the Lantern Corps. And they did. I was wondering how he was going to play into it, because we did get to see him on Peacemaker. But the character that Nathan Fillion's playing, of the Gardner Lantern type with the bowl cut, he's a very much big on the humor part, right? And so if this is a more grounded area, I just feel like that's going to be interesting how they play off of him, because he does bring a very comic booky feel. And as I said before, James Gunn is probably one of the only people who can mix those together and make them work. So I like that part. I love that interesting dynamic and mix he can do there.
Are you afraid? Are you afraid? Are you afraid?
I love the energy of the trailer so far. Again, it doesn't feel too comic booky. Like, you know, Peacemaker at times, even though Peacemaker can pull back to that realism where you just kind of have superheroes in or characters that happen to live in a superhero world, and they wear weird costumes, but they're like real people. James Gunn has a talent for bringing that in. I can feel that energy in Lantern. It can move to where I just feel like this is a very well grounded. Like, it doesn't feel goofy to me.
Raised fearless, and I'll do this better than he's ever done it before.
Then go and get it, John Stewart.
So I like it, guys. You know, I like the first one, even though we didn't get to see much. Graphics look pretty good. They don't look too goofy or anything like that. I was kind of worried about how they were going to show the powers, because, you know, how the Lanterns can manifest their will through the ring, and they could create all of these manifestations, and some of them can look quite goofy, right, with the green energy. Now, I'm going to say this here. You know, I kind of did like the idea how they showed the first trailer, where Hal Jordan takes flight, and you don't see any green emission of energy. You just kind of see the effect of it. I did kind of like that. Now, what I would have liked to have seen, right, just kind of going with it, is certain elements of the green energy emission, just enough for the viewer to know the ring's power is being used, right? But downplaying the energy that's emitted, you know, out of them to where you barely see it, I think that's a fantastic idea. Like, to kind of show up from the perception of the person who will be viewing it. Maybe they wouldn't see all these physical manifestations, but they will be happening. You see what I'm saying? Like, for instance, a lot of times when you see Green Lanterns fly, they, you know, at least in the animated series and things, they have like a green orb around them, and that allows them flight. In a lot of cases, that's how they do it. They were used to do it anyway. I forgot how they did it in the Superman movie, but I know he was using his ring. I don't know how he was using it in flight. But in this, right, it seems like it might be a mix of the both, and that's cool. Again, the Gardner Lantern, he's in there, so however he uses his ring in that universe means it exists in that universe and it can be manipulated and manifest that way. And he was doing those very cartoonish animated things in the Superman movie, but maybe we could just say he was envisioning those things because that's part of his personality, right? So, yeah, I guess I'm going with the more gritty, realistic feel to it. I'm liking that more adult version. James Gunn's kind of good at that. At the same time, he's good at more of that 13-year-old demographic, and at the same time, he's good at being able to blend them into the same world. He just has it, folks. What more can I say? So I like everything. Tell me all what you think about the Lantern Corps trailer. Interested in you guys' opinion. If you like content like this, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, very important, and share it across your social media. All right, thank you, and take care.